والله يدعو إلى دار السلام ويهدي من يشاء إلى صراط مستقيم.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to Inspirations, your show. I'm your host, Mu'tasam Al-Hamidi. Today, inshallah, we have a very beautiful topic in hand, something we dealt with before, but today we'll try to take it from different angles as well. It's one of the great foundations of Islam, and when we mention this act of worship, a lot of memories come to mind. Some beautiful times, some wonderful times of getting nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, especially during a very beautiful month that we all hold in high esteem. Before we get into the topic, let me remind you of our email address. Don't forget sending us your emails at inspirations@huda.tv. And you can visit our website to see any updates, and you can see also your contributions, which is www.buildingthefoundations.com. And let me welcome our guests, Brother Samih, and Brother Feroz, and Brother Muhammad. Okay, today's topic is about fasting the month of Ramadan, one of the pillars of Islam. This is a beautiful foundation, and when we mention Ramadan, a lot of memories come to our minds, a lot of good times that we spend, a lot of striving, and there's something in human nature that when we do something good, it always elevates us to a higher level. It always pushes us forward. And we feel happy about this. And this kind of happiness is praised by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As Allah said in the Qur'an, قُلْ فَبِفَضْلِ اللَّهِ وَبِرَحْمَتِهِ فَبِذَلِكَ فَلْيَفْرَحُوا. Let them actually be happy with the grace of Allah, with the bounty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with the gifts of Allah, especially with guidance. Guidance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The month of Ramadan is one of the most beautiful times during the year. It is the high season for good deeds. High season for good deeds. Let me first take some reflections. When Ramadan approaches, what kind of feelings do you have, Samih?
Getting ready for the ultimate championship.
Yes, mashallah.
Getting ready for...
Okay, getting ready. Okay, what about you, Feroz?
Hoping that, inshallah, I do achieve it, because a lot of people tend to die before it. Hope I do achieve it, and whatever I learn from it, to carry it forward towards the rest of the year, and hoping that Allah accepts all the good deeds, inshallah.
Okay, and Muhammad?
I believe for me that Ramadan is something special. It's a precious ceremony, basically. It's not something normal. I believe it could be like a turning point in my life all the time. So to change my status from a status to a better one. So basically I believe that it's like a chance comes once or something, because I don't know if I could stay alive till the next Ramadan comes or no. So I take it seriously, kind of thing. So.
Okay, so it seems that everyone actually, when Ramadan approaches, everyone they pull their socks up, and they try, as they say in America, they put their shoulders to the wheel. They try to get themselves ready for this time, or for this championship. Basically, it's a competition. And this, as I said, the high season for good deeds. And I remember basically every time Ramadan comes, I feel that I need to free myself for worship. Because it's an opportunity that might not come again. You might die before it, you might get ill and you can't fast again, or you can't seize this opportunity. And Ramadan, the heart is always in need of the love of Allah. The hearts of the people who don't know about belief, about their Creator, who don't recognize their Creator, the hearts are empty. This is why they try to fill this gap with alcohol, with drugs, with intimate relations, unlawful relations outside the wedlock. And they try to get themselves busy with different things. This is where you find them really working hard all week long. And on the weekend, they spend their time drinking, partying, just keeping themselves preoccupied and busy. Because if they just take a moment to think about their lives and about the reality of the way they're living, they would despair. They would really kill themselves. This is why many of them really go crazy. Some of them commit suicide. Some of them, get into drug abuse and different things, alcohol and all that stuff, trying just to run away from the reality of this life. Because as Ibn al-Qayyim, one of the greatest scholars of Islam, said that there is a need in the heart that cannot be satisfied except by recognizing Allah, loving Him and living for Him. So this kind of need, grows bigger at the time of Ramadan and satisfied during the time of Ramadan, because all the devils are locked, are chained. They can't, do the same corruption they do every time. So you're some sort of, you've been freed from the captivity. So you have you have a time off from the prison that you have been put in by the devils. So your soul is different, your feelings are different, and you have this kind of eagerness, steadfastness to do more acts of worship. And this is the blessed month of Ramadan. So Allah blessed it. Allah favored it over all other months. It is the month of Ramadan where our souls are free. And we will see how fasting can free us, has the ability to free our souls from the chains of desire, of the carnal desires. Now, talking about Ramadan and fasting Ramadan, this great pillar in Islam, do you know how it started? Was it at the time of before Hijrah? Was there fasting prescribed or anything?
Well, as far as I can remember, there's a verse of the Holy Quran, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the exalted, the glorified, said that fasting has been prescribed for the nations before the nation of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the ritualistic worshipping, which is fasting, had been prescribed before Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So it's an old type of worshipping.
Right. So the history of fasting goes even before that, for the early generation, or the early nations that came before us, there was fasting, was prescribed for them. There's a very good conclusion from the verse. Okay, what about the history of fasting with the nation of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam?
As far as I remember, that started before Hijrah, and it could be I don't remember really, but it was like a sort of fasting as well, but it took most of the day, just give them a little time to break their fast and to have their lives with their wives. And as many of the companions couldn't really go on with it, so Allah made it easier for them, and then made the fasting to just the period of the time which we know about it now.
Very good. Anyway, fasting at the beginning was optional. The only obligation was the prayer. And even before the prayer, there was the night prayer was obligatory. Then the 5 daily prayers. Then after Hijrah, the Prophet ﷺ saw the Jews fasting the day of Ashura, the 10th of Muharram. So the Messenger ﷺ asked the Jews, why do you fast it? They said it was the day Allah saved Moses, peace be upon him, from the Pharaoh, from Fir'aun. So this is why we fasted out of thankfulness to Allah. Now, this shows the unity of the message of all the prophets. The Messenger ﷺ said, we are more deserving of being connected to Musa than these people, because they changed his message. So he said, we should fast it. He commanded the people to fast it, and first time it was optional, second time became obligatory. Fasting the day of Ashura. That was obligatory. Then in the second year of Hijrah, during the month of Sha'ban, actually the second half of the month of Sha'ban, the fasting of Ramadan was prescribed, and people were acquitted from fasting. The day of Ashura became optional, and they had to fast the month of Ramadan for those who could. Only those who could fast the month of Ramadan. So they fasted the month of Ramadan. And there is a very beautiful lesson that we can learn from this. We talk about fasting. Fasting has the ability to free our souls from our desires. You become free. Every day, throughout the year, when we make a decision, when we plan for anything, always our desires are there. The whispering of the devils is there. It affects us. When we want to do the right thing, we're still hesitant. We're reluctant really to do the right thing. Why? Because there's a lot of influence from our desires and from Satan himself, trying to push us to what is wrong. But during Ramadan, they are locked. During Ramadan, fasting frees the soul. The soul is free from carnal desires. Why? Because you have learned to control yourself. First, among the strongest desires is eating and drinking and having intimate relations, the sexual desire. These are among the most profound human instincts and desires. Fasting teaches us to control this.
You are the master of yourself,
That's
not vice versa.
My need to eat, to drink does not control me. I control that. So it trains you. This is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, when He talked about the verse about fasting, He prescribed fasting, He said, يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. O you who believe, fasting has been prescribed upon you as an obligation, as it was prescribed upon the nations before you, in order that you may attain taqwa. Taqwa, this piety, righteousness, fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So fasting leads to taqwa. This is the purpose behind fasting, taqwa. How does fasting make us get taqwa? How? Why? Why do you think fasting really makes us have this taqwa?
I believe because it doesn't, it passes the limit of the spiritual effect and goes to physical effect as well. Maybe like, the prayer could help us spiritually, and obviously so many benefits as well. But the fasting is something like, literally, we worship Allah by doing that, something physically. And so this is the first point, that it passes the limit of just being spiritual effect, but to the limit that it has physically effect as well.
What can we add to this? It's a very good point.
Well, actually, I've read about fasting, and I saw some scholars were talking about 3 basic facts or benefits we get from fasting. Like the brother Muhammad, Jazakallah Khairan, was talking about the spiritual benefit. What about the social benefit? That when we feel how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had blessed us with so many blessings, that He gave us the money to eat, the money to just have a roof up above our heads, and had protected us from such things. And we shall remember the people who are just living poor without money and without food and stuff like that. So it also closes the gap between the Muslim nation coming all together as a universal brotherhood. Remembering my brother who didn't have money to eat and didn't have money to live the normal life that I'm living. First, it gives me the feeling that I have to praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this wonderful blessing that Allah had given me, and as well as try to help and give a helping hand to my brother. This is one of the facts. Another fact, the physical the physical benefit, as well as that social benefit, like I've told you.
So these are 3 benefits. Yes,
I think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has tied around the month of Ramadan, around the month of fasting, the repetition of the Tawheed, and also the Qur'an. When we get together for our Taraweeh prayers, when everyone's getting together, worshipping one Allah, and we listen to the Qur'an all the time, I think that also brings about a lot of taqwa, inshallah.
I started to smell the fragrance of Ramadan. These beautiful days, the beautiful nights. Fasting in itself, it has a basic element. First of all, we said, as you mentioned, control, self-control. And if you remember, I think we said previously that there's a very important element in taqwa. It has the element of self-control. You control yourself so you can decide to do the right thing, and you do it. And you know what is wrong and you avoid it. So fasting teaches us this, because you control the strongest desires that you have and the instincts. The other thing, fasting is a very clear declaration that I'm living for my soul, I'm not living for my body now. It's time for the soul to take control of the body, instead of the body taking control of the soul. Imagine throughout the year, we spend our time trying to take care of our body. Our soul serves our body. We try to get provision. We try to get food. We try to get, take rest, enough rest. It just all centered around the body. The body, the body, the body. When Ramadan comes, it says stop. Now it's time for the soul to get freed from that. The soul controls the body now. The body has no control over the soul.
The soul is hungry.
That's it. And the soul is, as well, the body is hungry. This has something to do with the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. He said, shaitan goes through the veins and the arteries of the person, just like blood, with blood. And this is a fact. So when you're fasting, everything in your body calms down. Even the blood circulation calms down.
Time for a vacation,
That's it. So even shaitan does not have the power, because the more food you give, the more shaitan will run with the blood. But the less food you give, the less shaitan will run with the blood. Adding to that they are chained already anyway.
And after I have spent 1 month, the whole month, abstaining myself from lawful and normal things in my life, I believe that after that, it's so easy for me, or at least it's easier to abstain myself from doing sins or committing crimes or do something bad, because I already done the hard work. I stopped myself from having my normal life, my normal food, my normal relationship. So now after that, I feel that it's so easy now for me to abstain myself away from the sins. Maybe my level of control over myself became better, I don't know.
So everyone actually feels more capable of doing good in Ramadan, abstaining from what is evil. We all feel that, and this is one of the symptoms or one of the signs of the mercy of Allah. Allah wants good for us. This is why He gives us this opportunity, Ramadan, as a gift. And it is a gift. We all feel it. I even was talking a couple of days to one of the brothers involved in the media. We said during Ramadan, we have daily shows, Islamic shows, and people don't get bored of them. They just want more of it, more of it, more of it, more of it. Remember Ramadan, actually, this show was centered around fasting, around Ramadan, and the etiquette of Ramadan, and everything we need at the night prayer, and all these issues. So every day, we ourselves, we didn't get bored. And the people didn't get bored actually watching these programs on different channels. But when it comes after Ramadan, you cannot have the show daily. No way. No way. Because first of all, you can't do it. Second thing, people will get bored of it. So we had to make the show a weekly show. And it is a fact. So in Ramadan, we all feel it. When Ramadan comes, that we are ready, that we want to do more. We want to do more. So Allah made it clear that the purpose of fasting is to get taqwa. So when you fast, you will get taqwa. So when you want more taqwa, when you want to increase your iman, stick to fasting. And here we invite the people as well, not even in Ramadan. Try to fast on other days as well. At least 3 days a month. 3 days a month. This will always bring you closer to Allah, give you more self-control and more taqwa. Now let's go to the month of Ramadan. The virtues of the month of Ramadan. Can you remember anything Allah said about Ramadan, or the Prophet ﷺ said about Ramadan?
Well, I remember some of the companions, or the early generation of the Muslim Ummah, they used to pray, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala half the year for them reaching the Ramadan, asking Allah for letting them live to reach Ramadan. And after reaching Ramadan and trying so hard to get near to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the second half of the year, they ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept their deeds and accept their supplication and acts of worshipping during Ramadan. So the companions of the early generation were so keen about this fact that it's an infrastructure in our religion.
Do you think we can do this today?
Why not? Maybe, yeah. It's something, obviously, it's something we needed from Allah, basically.
Yes.
That He's the only one which can keep us alive till next Ramadan come. Okay. And He's the only one which can accept our good deeds and after Ramadan finish.
What does it indicate? It indicates that their hearts are completely attached to Allah. Completely attached to Allah throughout the year. And that they appreciate this chance or this opportunity of Ramadan. They understand how important it is. They understand the gifts that are in this great time and with this great act of worship. Now, so we will inshallah mention some of the hadiths about the virtues of Ramadan, the merits of Ramadan, and some of the virtues Allah has given fasting in general. So that inshallah we'll make it our way of life. I don't want to say routine, because routine, it has the indication of a habit. But it's not about habit. It's basically, we are aware when we do this, we are aware of what we are doing, and we mean what we are doing, and we come every time with a fresh kind of intention. So inshallah, we'll take a short break, then we'll come to talk about Ramadan itself, the merits of Ramadan, and the merits of fasting. And I say to all viewers, stay tuned, we'll come back soon. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back. You're still watching Inspirations. We're still trying to build the foundations of Islam in ourselves. Okay, so Ramadan is a blessed month that Allah favored over other months. Can you remember any of the virtues of Ramadan?
The good deeds get multiplied.
Okay, so the good deeds get multiplied. Can you remember hadith of the Prophet ﷺ about this?
From 10 times to 700 times?
Yep.
Like this hadith?
Okay. So it's, as I said, the high season for good deeds. What else do we know about Ramadan?
The Quran was sent down in Ramadan?
That's one of the most important virtues. When Allah says in the Quran, شَهْرُ رَمَضَانَ الَّذِي أُنزِلَ فِيهِ الْقُرْآنِ هُدًى لِلنَّاسِ وَبَيِّنَاتٍ مِّنَ الْهُدَى وَالْفُرْقَانِ. So the month of Ramadan in which, or during which, the Qur'an was revealed. Now we know that Qur'an is the light that we follow. Is the guidance, is the constitution. It is the way that leads us to paradise. So this great gift from Allah, Allah favored it to send it down during this month of Ramadan because it is a blessed time. To favor this month with it. Allah describes the Qur'an, this verse, as He says, هُدًى لِلنَّاسِ وَبَيِّنَاتٍ مِّنَ الْهُدَى وَالْفُرْقَانِ. It's guidance for mankind. Not only for the Muslims, it's guidance for mankind. And we know even today with the scientific advancements and the scientific research and scientific findings today, that they come to know some scientific facts about this universe that are mentioned in the Qur'an. That Muhammad ﷺ and even people 20 years ago didn't have the tools to get to know about these details. So how did Muhammad ﷺ know about these? So it's all guidance in all aspects. Guidance for us to show us the reality of this world. And what we need to do in this world. And how we can get by in this world. And how we can improve ourselves. And how can we recognize our Creator. Get to know Him. Get nearer to Him. And build ourselves according to that.
Organize our relationships with the people, with ourselves.
Everything. Very good. With the people around us, with the universe, even with the environment. Islam tells us, gives us the teachings to preserve our environment. Because it's a gift from Allah and we have to be thankful. We have to appreciate this gift. So we look after it. And even Islam teaches us how to, actually it gets into all the aspects of our lives. So this is why it's been guidance and signs. Signs that contain guidance. And what? The criterion. It tells us, or gives us the balance. So we know what is good and we know what is bad. And the more taqwa we have, the more piety we have, Allah will increase your intuition. Allah will increase your intellect. So you come to know what is good and what is bad. And this is known. When we interact with righteous people, we can always see that they have an insight. I remember one of the great scholars, Shaykh al-Albani, may Allah have mercy upon him. When the people in Algeria had the elections, and those who were inclined towards Islam, some of the Islamic movements, they decided to take part in the elections, parliament elections, and they took part there. And it was clear that they were going to win the majority of the votes and the majority of the seats in the parliament. And they consulted the Shaykh. They asked him. This Shaykh asked them some questions. Do you have scholars among you? How about the people practicing there? They said, we have some, but we don't have enough. He said, it's not time yet. This is not the way of the Prophet. This man had guidance, because he had actually an insight in his heart. He could tell what was going to happen. Why? Because the more taqwa you have, the more criterion Allah will give you, the more insight Allah will bestow upon you.
Allah said this in Quran. وَاتَّقُوا fear of Allah, Allah will teach you.
Yes.
Yeah, so Allah made a relationship between piety and knowledge. Maybe as more as you get more piety, as more as your knowledge will be more.
Definitely. So this is why actually they consulted the Shaykh and he said to them, don't get into these elections. My advice. They said, come on. Everything indicates that we are going to win and we're going to rule the country. He said, this is not the way. And they didn't listen to him and they went to the elections. And some of the people who were very close to Al-Albani, may Allah have mercy upon him, they said to him, come on Shaykh, they've won. They've won. Now the results are coming up and they won. The Shaykh started crying. And he wept. And he said, it's all like the bubble, like the foam of a soap. It will go, it will disappear. Because it's not the way. He said, I can see that the people have destroyed themselves. And what happened? they were killed, they were tortured. And this is what caused the extremism that we find in Algeria. Some people who ascribe themselves to Islam, ascribe themselves to the early generations, while they defame Islam and they give the wrong image of Islam. They went into extremes, fanatics, and they ascribed themselves to Islam. So you see how Allah gives insight to the people of knowledge, to the people who attain more taqwa. So this is why we should always try, especially with fasting. If you fast Monday and Thursday, try not to miss out on these. Try to always fast Monday and Thursday, Monday and Thursday, Monday and Thursday. Or at least 3 days a month. The 3 white days. Don't miss out on that. Try it because it will improve you. It will benefit you. And there is something about the month of Ramadan. Some of the hadiths. The Prophet ﷺ said that when it's the first night of the month of Ramadan, now the gates of paradise will be open. So we can smell the mercy. We can feel it. This is one of the reasons why in Ramadan we are very enthusiastic about fasting, about worshipping Allah. And we feel if we really live all year long like this, we will enter paradise. We will feel it in this world. Actually in Ramadan we feel it. I tell you, the spiritual kind of feeling that we get, the nearness to Allah that we feel, is part of paradise. It's not part of this world. Because you really feel that all the pleasures of this life are nothing. It's all about getting closer to Allah, and you will know what's real happiness. You will feel it in your heart, and you will start feeling paradise. This is all some of the blessings of Ramadan. And the gates of the hell are locked. And the chains are deviled. And Allah will free slaves from the hellfire. And this will be at every night. So we might, during Ramadan, we'll get freed from the hellfire. If we exert ourselves, do more actions. So I want to get your feelings about Ramadan. You know, when you exerted yourself, how did you feel when you prayed, when you fasted, when you went with the people to pray Qiyamul Layl, the night prayer, and all that? How did you feel about it? Maybe it opened some new horizons for you in practicing in your relationship with Allah.
You know, the great scholars of Islam really understood what you were saying here about the benefits of fasting, the benefits of such month. The great scholars had circles of gaining knowledge for their students. They stopped such circles of gaining knowledge during the time of Ramadan. Yes. They said, no, this time is for the person to get in contact with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to manage how his destiny is it's gonna be either in hellfire or paradise. Yes. Asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for such things.
Yeah. Okay. Well, who else? Can you describe your feelings during Ramadan? How beautiful they were?
I believe that because, you know, Ramadan basically, because it's a precious time, and I believe that this is the time, the most which I can reach the nearest to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I believe that there is, you know, a hidden supply from the heavens to me to have control over the world, not only control over myself, to abstain myself from food and the water, lawful things. No, you know, it's like over than this. I feel that I can, by Allah's supply, I can control over my life, even the material life, you know, even my life, my status, my marital status, my financial status, everything. I feel that, you know, I have control over all these things, and it doesn't matter really for me, the dunya, because I look forward to meet Allah one day. So I feel that everything which looks major in people's eyes, I feel it looks minor in my eyes, because everything, end of the day, in my control as I'm Allah's slave.
Yes, yes, mashallah. MashaAllah. What about you?
Yeah, I like to see, I think the community aspect of Islam as in general and Ramadan in particular is amazing also, because I think to myself that I'm going to do quite a lot. And when I go to the masajid and I see people come with their children, the women are there, the masajid are full, and everyone making dua and crying, and I think to myself, subhanallah, it increases in me. And I'm amazed. I was in East London Mosque once during Ramadan, and they had a collection, and I used to think the Prophet ﷺ was generous, so I'll try and be generous. And they tried to make a collection for the mosque. They needed £9 million. And then one night, they managed to get about £25,000, and one person on his own donated £10,000 in that one night on an impulse. And every night they had collections, and it was amazing to see tens of thousands of pounds being donated. And I used to think to myself, subhanallah, look at what Ramadan brings out in people. It's, you know, such a community spirit. And then those people who want to do itikaf, they're collecting and they're, putting down their names for a place to be reserved for them, and their families are happy about supplying them with food. And when they get together in their i'tikaf and they're praying in the night prayers, and people coming at 3 o'clock in the morning to pray, and it's like everyone's taken up with the spirit and just swallowed by it.
These are the blessings of Ramadan. So you think Ramadan in the West, the Muslims are doing well there, yeah?
Yeah, I think year by year things are getting better. I mean, we see that we're being attacked from all sides, but when you're under attack, you bring up your defenses, and for the Muslims, the defense is Islam. And if you're either in it or you're out of it, and I think most people go completely into Islam, and they bring this coming up in them, I believe, inshallah.
So it just shows us that Allah has given us Ramadan as an opportunity so that everything good comes out. Everything we have, it comes to the surface. And it shows, and we benefit from it. And sometimes you see some things that you do, you never thought that you would do. Some talents that you have, you never thought you had before. But Allah brings them up. Why? Because of this high season for good deeds. What else do we find in Ramadan? Some of the gifts that Allah has given us within Ramadan. There's a very important gift.
Laylatul Qadr.
Laylatul Qadr. There's nothing like this night. Better than 1,000 months, which is about 83 years and something, a couple of months as well. Imagine that you worship Allah during this night and you get all this reward. You get all this reward for praying one night. And Allah made it, Allah didn't specify that night. He just said that it's one of the last 10 nights, especially the odd ones, the odd numbers. It's just for us to do more acts of worship. And no one will be guided to Laylatul Qadr except those who exert themselves throughout Ramadan and do their best. And they do it sincerely. They do it sincerely for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And during that night there are so many blessings that Allah showers His servants with. He gives more gifts. Because this is a blessed night. Because during this night, the Ramadan was revealed. It's Laylatul Qadr. It's Laylatul Qadr. And it's full with angels seeking forgiveness for the believing servants. So, especially with the last 10 nights, we all feel this kind of spirituality. And it leaves an impact on us. And as Samih said, that the early generations, they always thought of Ramadan as this 6 months after it, they would ask Allah to accept it from them. Because they still feel the impact of Ramadan on them. It changed their lives. And the other 6 months they keep asking Allah to make them live long enough to reach the month of Ramadan, because they've seen wonders during the month of Ramadan and they could achieve a lot. Now, let me move to fasting. The merits of fasting. The Prophet ﷺ said, anyone who fasts one day for the sake of Allah, then Allah will make a ditch or make a trench between him and the hellfire by the distance that can be cut by 70 years. 70 years. So this is a great distance by fasting one day for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And even another hadith, the Prophet ﷺ says, anyone who fasts one day for the sake of Allah, then Allah will free him from the hellfire. So it's a great opportunity. You see, all the pillars of Islam always give you more opportunity, gifts from Allah, Just don't miss out. And we still, lag behind. We still procrastinate. Later on. Don't do that. The earlier you build yourself, the more Allah will give you. The more potential you will find in yourself. And you will discover these and they will come out. And you will be a completely different person. This is what Islam wants us to be. And as I said many times, with the Arabs, they were the lowest of nations. Completely at the back of all the nations. They were subjugated by others. They were enslaved by others. They were disrespected by all others. They had nothing. They would kill each other, rape their women, each other wives, kill the children, bury the daughters alive, and do all types of nonsense, disgusting acts. And within 20 years, they ruled the whole world. And they taught the whole world about manners, about science, about organization, and about success, and about humanity, and about integrity. They brought to the world all these virtues, all these good things. And even the scientists, the just ones among the West, among the people of the West, they all say, had it not been for the Arabs, meaning the Muslims, we would not have had this kind of civilization today. We owe that to the Muslims, to the Muslim scholars. So what happened to us today? This is why we're trying to build these foundations. We start with ourselves. Some people want to change the world. They want to change the rulers. They want to change America. They want to change Japan. They want to change all the countries. You can't do that. Start with yourself. Start, as they say, with the circle of influence that you have. It will give you more power, more energy, and it will make you, more effective when you tell the people about Islam and about the truth. And there are many people out there who deserve to know about Islam. And we have to convey this message. It's our responsibility. We do this by living this message. This is one of the special things about Islam, that you cannot call to it without having it. It has to show on your conduct. Has to show even in your eyes. When you swallow it and you digest it and you live by it, it will show in your eyes. Sincerity, people can tell. In your words, even you might say one word, and it makes a big difference in someone's life. It can change one life. And Ramadan is a life-changing experience. Do you know of any people who repented during Ramadan?
Many people. Some of my close friends themselves. Some of my close friends, they were non-practicing Muslims. They were born Muslims, but actually they haven't practiced Islam the right way. But actually they stepped into the month of Ramadan after hearing a couple of lectures that really, they were really good one, that really influenced them to, okay, this is a lifetime opportunity for me. I'm going to recharge my spiritual batteries, and off I go. And then you see them after Ramadan, you see them, you feel that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had accepted what they have done during this month. You will see them practicing Islam the right way, giving da'wah, enjoying good, forbidding evil for the sake of Allah.
They changed completely during Ramadan.
Totally, 360.
Subhanallah.
MashaAllah.
Subhanallah. Okay, please think of more stories. Think about people you came in contact with who really changed their lives during Ramadan, maybe even yourself. Sometimes, we don't want to talk about ourselves, but let's try just to put these together. Maybe someone will hear your story and benefit from it. So please think of it until we take this break and come back. Say to all viewers, stay tuned, we'll come back very soon.
Ya Allah, Allahumma qawwini ala iqamati amrik Ya Mawla wa adhiqni halawata dhikrik واحفظني بحفظك يا الله.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to Inspirations. I'll remind you of our email address, inspirations@huda.tv. And your contributions will be seen, inshallah, will be put on our website, which is buildingthefoundations.com. MashaAllah, many of your contributions are very great. We try to update the website, put them on the website there for all to benefit from. And we would like to hear from you, your comments. And inshallah, as I said, in a few weeks, we will have a new format of Inspirations once we get into the articles of faith. And we will see that, inshallah, we can make and we can create a profound change in our character, in our way of life, so that we live this life as Allah wanted us to live it. And this is the best way to live. No matter how much shaitan whispers to us and tells us that there will be other ways for you to enjoy your life, the best thing is to live this life after you understand its reality. So your map becomes the real territory. This is the only way for you to succeed in this life and really enjoy it to the best, inshallah. Okay, so we were talking about fasting. I said Ramadan was an opportunity that would change people's life. Tell us about things that you know.
You know, Muhtasim, what you have just said now, exactly what I have been telling my personal family, maybe for more than a year or something. I have been telling them, listen, it's only one way to get the success. It's Allah's way. Yeah. Whenever you try to use your mind, whenever you try to use consultation of, some people which love you, this will never work. Will never work. Maybe shaitan will whisper, maybe you think that you are more intelligent than, the Prophet or something. All of these things will never work. And end of the day, you will find yourself that you have just wasted time. And end of the day, you will start up again from square one. But, some people, I hope, they started believing in this. And they started believing that, using any other way except Allah's way doesn't work. And I hope that your program really could guide Muslims to use Allah's way only, because by experience, by history, by everything, all the proofs, all the evidences show only one way, Allah's way, not our minds, not anything else.
Yes. Yes, actually, all these things that you mentioned, like our minds, the people that we love, when we really know our way and head towards Allah, all these become aids instead of obstacles. Yes. We can actually use them to our own benefit and for their own benefit as well. So the thing about following the religion of Allah, everything falls into place. You don't have to worry about it. It's a system made, it's designed.
Yes.
Because Allah created you and Allah made that system for you. So He knows. And all what we need to do, sometimes I know unfortunately, some practicing people give the wrong example. Now, the thing is, they didn't really follow the way of Allah. There must be something wrong here or there. It's their fault, it's not Islam. But this is still our responsibility. We're human beings, we're dealing with the human beings. They need to see live examples. This is why Allah sent Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, that he was a real manifestation of Qur'an, walking on earth. Okay? So, I believe it's our responsibility as Muslims, whether we are youth, whether we are elderly, whatever we are, yeah, to try our best to live by the correct image of Islam, the correct system of Islam, following the authentic Sunnah, following the Qur'an, following the example of the companions and the early generations, the pure message of Islam. If we really try to be a real manifestation of this, sometimes you don't have to tell the people about Islam, they will see it. And we know that this happened in Southeast Asia, that there was, if I ask you the question, who was the Muslim leader who occupied or who opened the lands of Malaysia or Indonesia?
Non-Merchants.
None. There's nothing. So this is how we should be. The character will speak for itself. We know actions speak louder than words. And as I said, when we really digest Islam, and it goes with our veins, and we live for it, when we sleep, we think about it. When we wake up, we think about it. We think about Allah. We think about this life. We think about the reality of it, and about the last day. Sometimes you don't have to say, your eyes will say it. Your example will say it. Your breath will say it. Everything around you will say it. So this is what we're trying to achieve when we build these foundations.
That's what you said. I mean, it manifests itself, and you were talking about Ramadan and how it influences people. I think that's very true because it's a community thing, and most people follow gang mentality. If people are doing something, they tend to do it, and even if you're doing good, they tend to follow it. I was in Australia. I used to work in a store, and there was this quote-unquote bad boy who used to come in quite a lot, and he was always into girls and discos and parties, but his friends were Lebanese and they were Muslims and they weren't very practicing. He came to Ramadan and he came into the store one day and said, "Assalamu alaikum." I said, "Wa alaikum assalam, what's going on?" And just because his friends were so much into Ramadan, always going for Taraweeh, always speak, like you said, people don't get tired of the deen, always speaking about it, and him, although they were all bad boys, he was influenced by that. And amazing, after that Ramadan, he became Muslim.
Subhanallah. That's amazing. That's really amazing. So it just tells the Muslims as well, when you practice, sometimes you don't have to give da'wah. You don't have to tell the people about Islam. They can already see it. I myself personally, really, I came to know more about practicing and was determined to be practicing. That was the moment of Ramadan as well, alhamdulillah. I remember we had a guest one day. His name was Michael, from America, from New Jersey. A very good brother, mashallah. Very, very good brother. He was asking about Islam, knowing about Islam. He went to study in India. He's in Egypt now studying. And during Ramadan, he said, "I want to pray with the Muslims." He wasn't Muslim. He prayed with them. And on the 27th night of Ramadan, the brothers offered him to become a Muslim. And he said, "I'll become a Muslim." And he changed his life. And you can see his, mashallah, very good manners. And you can see sincerity. When we talk about Islam, you can see it in his eyes. It reflects, it shows. He has this kind of sincerity. Ramadan is basically,
point in his life.
Yeah, it's always a turning point, Ramadan, for those who are seeking for change. So if you want to change your life, Allah has given you an opportunity during Ramadan. Doesn't mean we sit back and we stay until Ramadan comes. No, we do our best from now. Get yourself ready. Fast 3 days, as I said, at least a month. And, fasting. Let's talk about physical, for the body. You're studying medicine, mashallah, Sameh. Can you just give us shed some light on how fasting really helps the body, even physically?
Well, actually, one of the most misconceptions were spread out by non-Muslims is that fasting is harmful for your body and your health. But actually, this is not correct. I've been studying for a couple of semesters, biochemistry, biology, and all these stuff. And actually, one of the ancient methods for treating several or a couple of diseases is to fast. Now fasting has a major role in getting the body full active again. It's a time for just having your digestive system having a vacation. Because you think that when you eat a small potato chip or something, it's easy for you. It's not easy. For your digestive system, it's a complicated, hard work for him. Getting it to digested enzymes and all this stuff, and then filtering it from the kidneys and all this stuff, this is an exhausting process. So you're giving it a vacation. Number one, you're cleaning your body from damaged cells. This has been explained scientifically.
So it does clean the body from damaged cells?
Yes, the damaged cells and the bad cells itself are being renewed during the time, because the body concentrates on renewing its systems rather than just getting the process of digestion and metabolism and all this stuff. So this is number one. Number two is that getting your body, getting rid of the fat cells which are harmful, triglycerides and high low density lipoproteins and all this stuff, it just gets filtered out. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered us for our benefit and sake. Even I do not have this knowledge, I assure you that whenever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is ordering us a specific thing, it's for my benefit and sake.
Yes, yes.
Rising the glucose level in the blood, maintaining the equilibrium in the body cells and the glycogens and the glycogen storage sites of the liver. So many things to say about fasting of the holy months of Ramadan. Shaykh al-Albani rahimahullah used to cure himself by fasting. He himself said that I had many diseases, although we're not claiming that it's an antidote for every disease, but we're saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had told us that if it is beyond your capabilities in certain conditions, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all merciful. You cannot fast in special conditions if you fulfilled one of these criteria. So this is the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Can I add something to that? I've read that we eat because we get energy, so that we can get energy, and a byproduct of energy is something in the body called free radicals.
Yeah.
And these are the things that damage even the brain. Like people who have Alzheimer's.
What are they called?
Free radicals. And they're, even if a stick went into your skin, the free radicals could destroy it. They're that damaging.
Go directly to the DNA. Directly to
and
the
they
DNA.
destroy the brain, and people who get Alzheimer's have very high levels of free radicals. And so you eat, but that's what causes aging. That's how you become, you get wrinkled. So your eating actually, makes you grow old. And the people from India, like the people who practice yoga and stuff, they actually lower their levels of eating to very, very, very low levels. But that gives them a very long life and protects them from diseases like Alzheimer's.
You can see the free radicals more clearer in the old people, because as long as you live more and you eat more in your life, as more as you have high level of free radicals in your body.
Okay, I'm not having dinner tonight.
That is
If you want to stay young, okay, don't eat. So I don't think we'll have any food today. Okay, subhanallah. This is very good. Honestly, for the first time I've heard about this. Very good, mashallah. So it shows that Allah, anything that He commands us with, even sometimes if we don't understand the wisdom, there is a hidden wisdom. And the more advancement in medicine and other sciences as well that we have, the more secrets and the more surprising facts we will find in the acts of worship and in all the commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So fasting even cures the body. We were talking about the soul, but now we're even talking about the body.
everything.
Subhanallah. So it just shows us the wisdom of Allah, and that when we say Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, it means as well, should indicate that we trust Allah. We know that it's truth from Allah, we trust Allah. And we know that everything He commands us with is always for our own benefit. So honestly, from now on, it's just made me more determined even to do the optional fasting. Try your best to always fast, seeking the reward of Allah. Don't fast just to lose weight or to get healthier. It will come.
The intention.
It will come, yeah. Just keep the intention for Allah. It will come as you go by, You don't have to just make the intention for this. Otherwise, you might lose the reward. So make it for Allah, and just, you will get countless benefits from it. Just don't worry about it. Don't start counting the benefits. Allah will give you more. I'm sure there are more as well that we will always find out as we get more advancement in science.
Just one thing with Ramadan, the fact that it's a month long and it's a chunk. I was reading just a few months ago a lot about addictions, because some people I know are affected by addictions.
Yeah.
And I was surprised that within a matter of weeks, people who are addicted to drugs, to maybe gaming, too much computers, all sorts of different addictions. Within a matter of weeks, they are taken off the addictions. And I think with Ramadan, Allah bringing that block in, no matter how bad you are, that training over that month will easily pull you out of whatever you were doing, inshallah.
I'm sure we'll get more surprises if we carry on, but time is running out. But let's conclude with one thing. As we see, every pillar of the pillars of Islam, every foundation that we try to build in ourselves will give us more benefit, will give us more strength, more confidence, more faith, more iman. So you could see, the life of the Muslim is a learning process. Every day is better than yesterday. Today is better than yesterday. Tomorrow is better than today. The Muslim is always going forward. Like as Shafi'i said, there is no standstill. You're either walking forward or you're going backward. So always make sure you're going forward. And this is the life of the Muslim. It's a life of achievement. On the personal level, the social level, the financial level, the scholarly level, the scientific level, everything. The Muslim always goes forward. Because this life is like a farm or an investment. And you invest in it in order to get the eternal life. And the more you get here, and the more you give for the sake of Allah, and the more benefit you introduce to the people in general as well, the more you will get from Allah in this life and in the next. So let's try to build this foundation ourselves. And I also turn to our viewers, build this foundation in yourself. Fasting Ramadan, this is the obligation. And don't forget the option of fasting. 3 days at least during the month. Or if you can do this, fast Mondays and Thursdays, and you will see that, inshallah, make the intention for Allah, and you will see the difference, inshallah, in your soul, in your health, and in your life in general. Always keep the pleasure of Allah in front of you, head towards that, and seek the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I appreciate your being with us, the very beautiful and informative facts that you provided us with. May Allah reward you. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep us upon the straight path, to help us build these foundations in ourselves, so that we be better Muslims, and we live for Islam. We live to open the eyes of the people to this great treasure, so we all share it together. And inshallah, I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us all meet in paradise. And I also make this application to our viewers all as well. I leave you in peace. And until we meet next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.